You look at me, every day is your birthday. You're such a treat, I'm just a drip in your faucet. Before the party.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Magic Show. In this, our 29th outing, can you believe we're almost the big 3-0? In today's episode, we're going to look into the future of Magic, beginning with new blocks, new cards, and new strategies. Let's take a look. The next Magic block. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. The next block is going to be called, wait for it, Lorwyn. Let that roll around your mouth a bit. Think about Lorwyn and what that could mean as a name. Now, if you are half as geeky as I am, this should be setting off alarm bells. Did you watch Lord of the Rings? Doesn't Lorwyn sound, I don't know, elfy? Because I'm getting an elf vibe there. But more so than just elfy, it sounds downright Dungeons and Dragons-y, doesn't it? Oh yeah, my fellow geeks, I believe that there will be a Dungeons and Dragons block and that it's coming in October. Now, because I'm only half as geeky as the average dungeon master, I don't know the, quote, planes of the D&D universe, or what this could entail exactly. What kind of lore-ridden universe are we stumbling into? However, Rosewater mentioned that they're going to break all the rules with Peanut. Oh, you don't know what Peanut is? That's Lorwyn. It's a code name. You see, each set has a code name. Champions of Kamigawa block, for example, had the sets Earth, Wind, and Fire. Ravnica block was Control Delete, and Time Spiral is Snap, Crackle, and Pop, with Pop being Future Sight that's to be released in about 3 months or so. But Peanut, what we now know as Lorwyn, is breaking the rules. How? Well, latest posts say that we'll have peanut, butter, jelly, and sandwich. What is sandwich? Allow me to first delve into bad set design. It's well known that I'm no fan of Cold Snap, and my complete condolences and understanding go out to the designers and developers with what could only be the best intentions. But while the set fails on many levels, let's look at what was probably its worst sin, drafting. Cold Snap was designed and developed with the ability to draft it as a small set. This was, as we all now realize, not a good idea. Now, some have professed that Cold Snap drafting was not the god-awful, bowel-crushing experience some found it to be. But as for the rest of us, the drafting probably hurt the most. We really wanted to like it, honest. But it wasn't meant to be. Ripple and the not-so-subtle Collect Me theme made the set ridiculously swingy, and with only one small set, the draft archetypes were extremely limited. But look, we got a good rider out of it, didn't we? That's saying something, isn't it? Anyway, Lorwyn will destroy the idea that a block may have only 3 sets total. This alleviates the pain and anguish of trying to stomach one-shot expansion sets. Back when Magic first began, blocks were still a twinkle in a Rosewater's eye. Now they're here and they're 3 a year, but no longer. And while this decision is exciting for Magic alum like you and I, it's also economic. Wizards, or more specifically Hasbro, likes the idea of selling 4 sets a year. It keeps the suits, as we may refer to them, at bay. For many years, Wizards has been offsetting the summer absence of a non-core set by releasing the Unhinged and Unglued series. This funky offshoot is only cool and interesting if given enough time between releases. So last year, instead of another unset, we got Cold Snap, and in 2008, a year after 10th edition, comes Sandwich. Now, when you think of Dungeons and Dragons, I can't really imagine a world I'd rather like to spend 4 sets in. I'm sure it's cool, and the dragons will undoubtedly be badass. At least, there better be freaking dragons. Huge dragons, with fangs, and swords, and a fan club. I'm not kidding. Now, no post-set release article is complete without a rundown of its favorite sons. And this one is no different. Now, because Sean McEwen is a dirty hack who steals all my great ideas the week before I get them, he did much of the same thing. But I'll look over it. This time. So instead of standard highlights, I'll do something I consider much more interesting. I'll focus on the cards that are currently being underrated. This is always fun and, hey, gives more ammunition to my critics. Not that they need it. White has the following big hitters. First up is Heroes Remembered. Oh, I'm sorry, what deck wants to wait 10 turns for a spell? That's right, blue-white control. Particularly, blue-white Tron is a-okay with playing 9 mana spells, particularly those that will kick stuff like the new mono-green aggro directly in the nuts. You. Man, I'm at 3. Better draw something good. Tap some Urzaland, Signets, and these solid gold hallowed fountains. Gain 20. And the aggro player? I hate myself. Up next is Assault Blast, a very interesting card that seems to fit a few different archetypes. One is what will probably be the new Glare archetype if blue-black Drownu doesn't crush us under the waves of mystical teachings. Another is, of course, White X Control, but virtually every White X Control deck just sounds better when it's Black X Control and features Damnation. Either way, this card destroys virtually any permanent on the board. One of the bonuses of this card is, and I say this with a straight face, that since white will probably suck pretty badly in the new metagame, this is basically an expensive Vindicate. Blue gets a big slice of Venerian Glimmer. How awesome is this card? I'm pretty sure it'll be making its way into at least some blue control decks, if not some fish builds. Oh, did I say fish? You betcha! Gossamer Phantasm and Mana Tithe combined together to form some sort of new delicious beatdown dish never before seen, and the drizzling syrup of disruption on top is Venerian Glimmer. It pulls stuff like Mana Leak and Condemn out of their hand, along with showing you their entire grip at the end of their turn for 3 and 2 mana respectively. This card will eventually make it into Vintage. 2 mana to see their hand and strip a random fantastic card on turn 1, anything from a Lotus to an Ancestral to a Brainstorm and up, sounds too good not to make an impact in that format. But then again, I'm no Menindian. Also, snap up those Riptide Pilferers in foil while they're cheap. This guy on turn 2 in both Control Mirrors and Fish can cause headaches that last all game long. And don't worry about morphing this guy, he's redonk all on his own. Do note I didn't get to spend any time with Onslaught blocks, so Headhunter may suck for all I know. But Pilferer certainly seems strong in today's control-drenched environment. In black, snap up a set of Imp's Mischief on the cheap. Those Drownu people, the kind who just love a long, drawn-out match of card advantage and Teferi dropping, would like nothing better than to have this awesome misdirection. What's 4 life in a control mirror? Just another spell, that's what. Imagine you're grinding your way through the top 8 in yet another control mirror. Your opponent plays 3 mana and compulsive researches. Wouldn't it be worth 3 life to make that target you instead? Or to change the target of a crucial spell in a counter war? This 2 mana spell cannot stop a lethal demon fire, but it can stop a hell of a lot more than you think. Speaking of neato, soon-to-be in-demand foils, grab those Shrouded Lures before people realize how incredible they're going to be in mono-black control. In red, Brute Force just made Boros Swiftblade playable in Standard. Go ahead, throw together that deck you have in your head right now. You'd be surprised. In green we have 2 oddities. The first, as pointed out by none other than Talon of the Lee, is Fungal Behemoth. Yes, the only art Mark Tadine provided for the set could actually make Cytoplast Rootkin see top-tier play again. Simic Beats for the win! The other oddity is Uktabi Drake. In my silly Time Spiral standard Primal Force Mage deck, I couldn't find 2 things. 1. Enough creatures with haste. Solves that problem. Secondly, I needed a card draw in green and red. Thanks to Harmonize, we're a-okay there. Again, throw it together and see what sticks. I believe the best part of any post-release, in my opinion, is the fun-filled deck-building sessions that arrive afterwards. As for multicolor, I don't know how long it's going to take for Numot the Devastator to show up in Blink Riders, but it probably won't be long. Alright, what the freak, ladies and gentlemen? Did we really have a big feature article on MagicTheGathering.com that said they seriously consider bringing in a 6th color? And did they really list Mana Drain as one of the cards to give the new color? Mana Drain. People. The card which Randy Bueller himself said they would never, ever reprint. This would have been killed faster than Icarid and Extended in development, but still. It's hard to fully explain how busted this card is, to even think for a second about bringing it back into the world. Shudders, people. Shudders. 6 colors sounds sexy for all the wrong reasons. Because it's different. Don't people fear what they don't understand? We don't fear a sixth color. We'd embrace it. And then we'd hate it. We'd despise it. For all the things that it's not. For all the colors that it's not. You think green gets a lot of rants on how bad it sucks? Just wait till we get a whole new color to bitch about. And maybe that's why it was killed. Or maybe it was because the color pie that we know and love, which I like to point out is a complete figment of Magic Design's imagination, is fine where it is. Magic is a lot of things and can go a lot of places. Within 5 colors, you can do almost anything you want, and Magic has done quite a bit. Just look at the other card games and see the rip-offs, or homages if you prefer, yourself. Each new leap of ingenuity that we've had lately, hybrid mana, time and plane shifted cards, snow mana, has secured another 6 months where Magic R&D can do their best to hone the next great idea. But what if we run out of ideas? Rosewater says there is no running out of ideas, and I believe him, but it's not easy. And while I would love for a 6th color to emerge, I don't think it should be done willy-nilly. In fact, it should take a huge shift in how the game is seen and played. It would take a growth of immense proportions, a whole other world of fantasy and danger. Like Lorwyn? That's all I'm saying, people. All I'm saying. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week.